going to be something
So you have like a topic of what you guys are going to discuss, or it's just going to be
what's
random
going on in the world today.
Yeah. Ooh, I want to be in on it.
And speaking of what's going on in the world today,
hey,
like I have a lot of shit to say.
We can break into the whole, because I mean we should be talking
there's a lot
about
going on in the world right now.
Yeah, no, that's what I say.
Today.
Talking today, because I just had a conversation today with Rebecca where I was like, "This shit's wrong on so many levels." Because look, one, the dude can't put together a coherent sentence, and I hate to be real, but this is real.
We're so fucked.
I hear him trying to posture, and I'm like, we should not be sending our troops over there. We should not be the tip of the spear. We put enough money into NATO. This is Europe's problem. Why is Europe not getting it? Why do we have to become on the front side of this? And then you get into the bigger issue. I know of no time in that man's political history that his decisions or his thoughts were ever on the right side of history. And here he is, actually, we have been trying to get out of wars. And here he's throwing people into wars. And I'm like, so no, I'm not going to deny that.
It has anything to do with why Putin decided to strike now?
Well, no, I don't. But I know, but I do know this, and I'm going to say this because
I think it's a good
I promise you, the verbiage that Putin used today, he wouldn't have said that shit if Trump was president.
I already know.
No.
Well,
no, he wouldn't have. No, not the way he did. No, because his statements were something of the effect of consequences, the likes that you have never seen. And I'm like, he'll say that to Biden. Yeah, I could totally.
This.
I mean, that's taking a card out of Trump's playbook.
Well, but that might be, but I don't think that he would have played that card.
But do you think Biden's the one to call his bluff, though? I mean, Putin ain't afraid of Biden.
Biden can't freaking make a sentence. Are you kidding me? He's not even competent.
We don't care about Ukraine.
Well, it's not even about caring about Ukraine. I'm sitting here going, like, look, the French don't like us. And for everything I know, the French are generally good people. But why don't they like us? They've long had a problem with Westerners. Why? Generally, because we butt in to everybody.
After World War II, though.
Well, I mean, for the moment, but that's not my point. The point is, we do tend to butt into everybody's issues. We do tend to take over.
That was one of the questions.
And I'm like, today. I thought the world police was supposed to be through the UN.
Well, the UN doesn't work when Russia and China are in the Security Council. So.
Well, I don't understand why it doesn't work, per se.
One person, anybody vetoes, it stops anything. And they're permanent members. So, of course, they're going to be like, do you like what Russia's doing? Russia's going to be like, yep, I like it.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we're done talking today.
Yeah.
Well,
meeting.
Okay, but that does not stop UN members that are in alliance from getting together, where I'm looking at all of the countries over there going, okay, why didn't America...
You're talking about NATO.
I know, but that's my point. Why doesn't America come in and say, this is in your neck of the woods. You need to handle this. We agree with you. How can we support you without us being the person that's cleaning up your shit for you? These are your lands. How do you want to handle this? We're here as a support role, not, well, we're just going to send troops over and engage and clean up your shit for you.
Well, we're not engaging the Russians.
Go back to the times where Obama had to make decisions, and Biden was like, you should do this. To which Obama was like, well, Joe said I should do this, so I should probably do this. I mean, like, the dude is known for being on the wrong side of history, on the wrong side of decision making. So I'm really sitting here where one part of me is, I'm trying to stay out of the news. The other part of me is sitting here legitimately saying, okay, well, I guess I should be conscious of what could potentially land us in a World War III scenario after we just wound down a couple of decades.
If we end up in a world war and there's a bunch of bullshit happening, there's like probably going to be shortages of this, that, or the other. How do you plan to problem solve that?
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was going to lead with I'll donate coffee. I mean, the chocolate cover coffee, because I mean, I have donated hundreds of pounds of chocolate cover coffee beans, a lot to the Navy, because like it's a quick boost of energy in general. Yeah. And I just don't get into the politics of it. I'm like, our military, I've got a kid that I'm real close to, and he's thinking about going in the military, and I was like, well, one, you need to understand, like, you're now owned property, you're owned, so at least understand and know, again, eyes wide open, what you're getting yourself into. Because serving your country is a very noble cause, but like you lose all decision-making ability.
Yeah.
You step into a highly bureaucratic, systemized process where you are the property and told what to do. So thinking necessarily that you're going to make a difference, no, I mean, like it's the politicians, for good, bad, or indifferent, that are the ones, quote unquote, making the difference.
You
You're
could
the tool.
enlist in the army, and then by the end of your term, you've got a completely different president that you're having to obey, and they've got completely different politics. You join the military thinking you're going to do X, and you end up doing Y, and you can't ask questions.
Exactly.
So it's a slippery slope.
But I still go back to, I mean, like the men and women that have served this country, I have nothing but respect.
You have to have respect for someone that's willing to make that decision.
That's exactly it, because that's. Yeah,
I couldn't make that decision.
There's no bigger decision you can make.
Yeah, and so it's like you don't have respect for them. Like you don't have to agree with them, but I mean, unless you're willing to go do that same shit, you better shut up.
That's I mean, because it's a lot of people that it's like you're going over there at 18 years old. You're still developing, and that's
where
where
drink alcohol, but you can shoot somebody.
You can't even buy cigarettes.
Yeah. It's 21 now.
I don't know that. I mean, when you get over there, I don't know that those age restrictions necessarily apply.
No, but they do for the country that's sending you there. That's the point. The country says you're not old enough to do this, but they're asking you to represent you.
Stuff like that, you can.
Yeah, but they're asking you to do these other things, though, and it's like, well, I mean, I feel
I'm
like
old enough to, yeah.
I'd be like, okay, maybe not civilians, but I feel like if you sign up in the military, you should automatically get those types of rights. Because I mean, if you're being asked to kill somebody, you should be able to have a come down cigarette after you get done.
Well, and I'm laughing. My whole thing, again, just by going back to what was the podcast for? That accountability, eyes wide open. If you're going to go into entrepreneurship, at least be real and honest about what you're getting yourself into. And again, such a noble cause to serve your country. But so many people go in, and I don't know who necessarily paints the picture. I mean, it could be Hollywood, that you want to be the next Rambo, you want to be the next. But I mean,
I find
it ain't
a
no
lot
different.
of people get involved in it because they want that education, or they give you this sign-on bonus bullshit talk that everybody ends up getting ripped off on, or something like that. I mean, the powers that be definitely aren't running the system, and we have a lot of people with a lot of good intentions and good hearts. And
their clever marketing does just as much for recruiting and building people up.
Good marketing will go a long way.
And that's they've really and again, I mean, I guess that's good in one respect, because when they weren't good at that, well, then you had the draft and people were being forced into the draft.
They're talking about reinstating the draft.
That's, and I mean, some of that might be just that things are so polarized that depending on the president that is in is depending on how many people are willing to step up at the moment and defend the country. But then I don't know, what is it like? You sign on, you have to sign on for at least 4 years.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think 2 or 4 or something like that.
So, yeah, you can totally find policies literally turning on their head in the middle of your chosen career. That's the other side of it is I will say that, because I was listening to a podcast, this dude was creating like a very fascinating app. And the app was based on locating qualified airplane mechanics, and all of his education was developed inside of the military. Like, there are some really good civilian skills that you can go into the military, and as you're serving the country, you're able to actually gain that knowledge and experience and walk out of the military proud that you served your country, but more importantly, with no debt.
Well, I mean, the military's got the best technology across the board, so of course, if you're going to excel in a field, that's a good place to start.
No, and it's just like
the best college in the world.
Because the book that I've been telling you guys that I wanted all of my leadership to read, Extreme Ownership. I mean, as you're reading through the book, you're finding out that these guys in the Navy SEALs, like, they have access to all of the coolest gadgets that are like cutting edge out there,
and we can't even imagine even exists. And they're using it on a daily.
Exactly. But they went through a whole different level of military training and qualification to be even able to make the cut, to be able to have the ability or the right to actually use that.
Of SEALs died a couple weeks ago just in the training.
Yeah.
Just in the training, really. Not them stories don't make their way out there too often.
They would, for like, even though it seems pretty grim, it is sort of a morale boost. Be like, damn, our military is tough. Like, it's fucking hard to get into there, and only the badasses are in there. People are dying trying to get into it.
Well, and that's but that was in the book, Extreme Ownership. That was one of the things where, because they had experienced losses, the higher ups tried to come in and say, you need to loosen up your parameters. And the SEAL community was like, no, you can't. You cannot replace our teams on the spot. You cannot loosen the tolerance for actually making the cut, because then you degrade the specialism and the quality. Of what we
were talking about last night with you not being able to find staff in certain places, like in sitting there thinking, well, I don't want to reduce what my brand or my quality or what it is that I'm doing in order to fulfill this need. I need to keep my level up to here, and it's the same across the board with everything.
Well, I mean, that's just like, don't get me wrong. That's we have another member on the team, Mr. Newkirk, that he's a good copywriter. But the point is here in Indiana, like their copywriters are not just falling off the trees in Indiana. It's not easy to go find a good copywriter in this area. Talent's hard to come by in general, but Indiana is not necessarily like just producing copywriters.
Yeah, and copywriting, a lot of people think copywriting is just, you're just writing some shit. I can write a sentence or two. And it's like every single word that you put has to have some, and it's like you have to know a little bit of psychology, you have to know some marketing, you have to know current events, you have to know all this stuff, and this has to be what you live and breathe. Well, because in one day it can change. What you think is a good hashtag today turns out to be something that lowers your shit tomorrow, and you got to just know all this shit. So.
And that's the whole point, is that in this society, in this day and age, people's attention spans have gotten nothing but less and less and less and less and less.
The average attention span on a website is 3 seconds.
And so you have to have a hook that gets them in 3 seconds.
1, 2, 3. Bye.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to tell him that.
Yeah.
You try and tell me that.
I do.
Tell me what?
That
that we're not paying attention.
Leaves after a certain amount of time.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'll be the first to say, though, that the audience, the following that I'm looking to develop, like, these are the people that have more attention span and literally want to learn and educate themselves, and that they've got more in them than just a 3-second attention span.
Yeah, but even those people, I mean, their attention span, they want to learn, but they're going to try to find the easiest way to learn that.
Path of least resistance. I get that. I know. I get that. And don't get me wrong. I'm not going to deny. I know that sometimes I'm a little long-winded. I mean, shit, it happens.
No, nobody said that. I didn't say that. She didn't even insinuate that.
People at home notice that?
I'm an introspective individual. Hey, I know my strengths and weaknesses, but like I've said, I spent a lot of time being wrong more than I was right, and now I would like to think that I'm right more than I'm wrong. So
but those days of being wrong is like what has led up to these days of being right, and it's about how you handled that. So when you were wrong and you didn't just sit on your thumbs and be like, this fucking sucks, and you're like,
and that right there, the perspective and the mindset right there.
I can't stand people that do that.
No, because the thing is when you're making the mistakes and you're paying the price for the mistakes, it sucks.
Yeah.
But the right mindset is like, wait a minute, it might suck, but there's a lesson here to be applied to make sure that I'm not making this mistake again, because you don't want to approach the definition of insanity.
No, it's just like my dad said. He said, life is like a science experiment. You're running the science experiment, and say you have to run the experiment 400 times to find that one. Does that mean that experiment number 399 was a waste? It was the one you realized it doesn't work, and you found number 400. So if you weren't a good scientist and you didn't keep on running these experiments and just said fuck it the first time your first experiment didn't, we wouldn't have shit.
Sounds like your dad spent time researching Albert Einstein.
My dad probably is Albert Einstein. My dad's the best person that ever walked the earth. So
I saw that's the thing is I don't, because I'm definitely not trying to make you cry, but I mean I saw that was a very touching Facebook post that it was like, no shit, like the timing was just impeccable.
He's the best fucking person on the planet. It's like he knows me better than anybody, and he always just knows exactly what to say to me and other people. So my dad's got quite the reputation. Even now, having a stroke and not being able to speak or walk, he can still make people laugh, still make people cry. just knows exactly what to do or say with people. I mean, he's a fucking amazing specimen of a human.
Well, and towards that end of it, because I mean, I'm not overly knowledgeable about this with him, but only 20% of your communication with somebody is literal through verbal. Yeah. So as long as there's still mind up there, you're able to communicate with people in many different ways beyond the actual verbal word.
I was telling that to my son this morning when my dad was trying to teach him how to do certain things. And I was like, Dad, Papa still has the same thoughts and ideas and cravings and itches on his ass that he has to deal with and all this other stuff, and you just gotta, he's leveled up. Now he has to learn this whole new way of communicating. And if anybody can invent it, it's going to be Papa.
And I mean, for clarification here, so for whatever reason, I mean, I get so many freaking notices in my phone, but when Bacon will post, I'll click on it to actually see what the post was. So I click on this post, and it's a picture, and she said, my dad walked out and caught me crying, and he showed me this, and he opened up a drawer, and it was just a pamphlet of everything that she had ever created as a child, all collected together.
Certificates from like the President's Award at school, when you have to do like 12 jumping jacks and like just corny shit. And he's like, and he's crying. I did that, and he's crying. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, I fucking love you so much.
And there's your moment right there.
He sat and looked at them all with me. It spent 2 hours looking at every picture and he's just a lovely person.
So it was a bunch of reminiscing and a flooding of emotions.
And this is the motherfucker that raised me. So he's responsible for all this shit right here. I hope he's listening.
Okay, well, Dawn, I'm sorry. I don't want to take any more of your...
I mean, at this point, I think that Matt and
I haven't heard anything from
Matt's
him.
just sitting here in awe because he has to admit, holy shit, she does, in fact, she's actually... She's real, yeah. I'll be honest.
On that note, I also have mad respect for you. Like I said, I follow your stuff. I can't share it for some reason. I wanted to get with you on that
because I keep it all private. I don't put it on. So if there's any post that you like that you want me to share, just send me a message or make it public, and I'll do that for my stuff because I do them all private.
Why don't you share it externally? Because that's what I do. If you click on the picture, there's 3 dots on the right hand side. You can hit share external, and then it goes directly to your page.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't trail from Bacon's page.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Where'd you learn that?
I wasn't necessarily
I learned that a long time ago.
Okay.
I've been still post for years.
My girl do it that
way. A lot of people say that to me too. They're like, "You got such good shit, and I want to share it, and I can't." I'm like, "Well, I'm not gonna make it public. That's for my other things." And so,
you can share it externally.
And I have a couple clients that have gotten wind of what my nickname is and what my stuff on Facebook is, and like one of them, I work for this one company called J Pods, and so it's a transportation company, and they're creating these pods that travel. It's like an elevator, but in the sky, and it travels around. And so they're making it go from like airports to malls and all these little things. And so his name's Bill James, and he's from MIT and all this stuff. Very professional, but a very cool guy. And he found wind of what my Facebook was and found me on Facebook and sent me a friend request. And of course, I sent him a message, and I'm like, Bill, you don't want to be on my Facebook. And he's like, he goes, yes, I do. I want to know what you're like. And I'm like, okay. So I added him, and he's like, you're the fucking best. I'm like, I'm glad you think that.
It wasn't you're the best, by the way. Don't talk this shit on the. Don't represent me this way, but yeah.
Well, I do a lot of government writing for him. I'm writing to the governors and to the senators and editing things for the senators.
Oh, so you are capable of cleaning it totally up and being PC.
Oh, absolutely.
And
yeah, it's a skill, but it's just a matter of what environment I'm in. So if you're a true artist and a true writer, you should be able to create a character and create a background story and create anything for any brand, person, story, anything.
Okay, so I mean,
AI can replace
and don't get me
that.
wrong. I mean, we're in capitalism. I mean, it's that you hire people for money, but projects that you have turned down for X reason. What? I mean, are there, or has it just been like, hey man, if you pony up the cash, I can kick out?
The first couple of years, that was definitely the case because I hadn't really found my voice yet and wasn't sure what niche I wanted to write in, and it's sort of what has created this cornucopia of clients that I have, right? But there have been some projects that I just felt were too much work for the price, or people who really weren't valuing the skills that it requires and thinking they can undercut it. Those are the people I invite them to go outsource to some overseas writers who can't write English, and they can take that low quality shit and shove it up their ass. So I don't take jobs unless they can meet my price point, or unless I agree with what it is they're doing and I feel like I want to be a part of that. So for the most part, I haven't turned down a lot of projects in my life. I really enjoy challenges. I like to make money, and it's difficult to say no to that. Yeah.
Trish,
Yes.
the demi-galactic goddess of research and development.
It's my baby mama, AKA.
I mean,
How do you always fuck up my name though?
I know,
Galactic
because I mean,
demi-goddess.
it's like it's in my head, and I'm like, it's sometimes it'll come out right, sometimes it won't. But the effort is there, though. Is
Do
that
a business card every time.
Yeah, just so you know who
you're
I
gonna
am.
get this right?
I know
This
we've
is my
met
version
before.
of watch the training video
see,
over again.
This is how it all came about. The business cards, when I first started, he was like, everybody needs a job title. It was this big thing for like 2 fucking weeks. Everybody needs a job title. Everybody needs a job title. So I'm going through, I'm like, oh God. So everybody's like, I want to be vice president. I want to be director. I want to be this. I was like, fuck it. Let me see what I can do. So I get online, I'm looking at like weird stuff, and I'm like, you know what? This is great. I'm going to be a galactic demi-goddess.
Yeah, that's like
I was like, because that way, because I know Jason and all of his ADHD shit. So like, I know that my
Is
job
that what it's diagnosed as?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So like, I know that it's going to change. So
way.
Like I know I'm different, but I'm
Absolutely.
not gonna put myself in a front of restraint to actually let him diagnose
Yeah.
it.
You don't
have to.
I'm
We
me.
already did.
Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
Oh.
I've got enough background in psychology. I can help you.
well, that way, like, I can always tell people like I'm the galactic demi-goddess because I know my job is going to change, and I don't ever have to worry about going and getting reprinted.
And if you're
fucking
galactic,
business
that
cards.
pretty much takes care of everything.
It really.
A
that's what-
demi-goddess,
I mean,
that covers the bases in case you don't know what
Yes.
galactic means.
So here we are. So now I just need a nice little nameplate that says galactic demi-goddess.
Done.
I'm down for the
I'll get a
meantime.
hold of one of
I
my
was-
CNC
no, no,
guys.
no,
and
no,
see
no.
if
It's
You know,
on-
I'm in the
it's-
print business.
Hey, it's on
I'm
the
also
card.
in the print
It-
business.
Oh, yeah,
it's on the
print.
card. I mean, I'm totally. I'm like, because the thing is, look, I know it is easy from my place in the organization to say I don't give a shit about titles, but I mean, the thing is that I don't want to say I've never, because I chose to develop a business heavily female, and I did actively choose drama over egos because I know I'm a pretty headstrong individual. But
Egos don't listen. Drama listens too much, and I think I'd rather have too much listening.
No, and that's and a bit of feelings, and I want to say or logic, but sometimes when egos get in, I'm like, there's not even any logic to it.
Of course, women can have egos too.
No. Hey, you know what? But
certainly
that's again, I go back with that. Everybody has an ego. There's nothing wrong with it as long as that ego, preferably, is in check. But that the ego is there from real accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like it's arrogance. If you ain't accomplished shit, then really like get your ego in check because you don't have any right to literally have a swelled head. But that's regardless. I do try and keep my ego in check.
So unless I call those people cocky because they're fucking dicks.
Well, that's because I'm not going to deny that I can be that way too. It comes down to if I'm challenged. And then if I'm challenged, I'm going to be sizing up the individual. And then I'm like, well, have they accomplished shit? Should I be giving them respect? Or are they blowing smoke up my ass and they think that they've owed what they haven't earned? In which case, then I'm like, no, wait a minute. I have earned it. Now you're challenging an ego that I feel is legitimate. And where I try and keep it in check, like if somebody else wants to talk shit, you better come real because I mean I can put my ego on the forefront and it's based in accomplishment. So don't push that unless
you tie my laces. You got to wear my shoes.
There we go. Yeah. But any which way, no, it's
so shut up. Let's listen to Trish.
I get it. I'm
Just talk.
Thank you.
See?
You go ahead.
There's those balls.
Can you see it? Is it showing
Don't make me just slap them on the table.
I just heard him.
Well, we're just trying to see Bacon's dick print. That's all.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that what it?
Yeah,
Okay,
everyone
the
wants to see
challenge.
Bacon's
Okay,
dick.
yeah,
Yeah.
no
We
problem.
weren't worried about your balls. Sorry.
Okay.
You were practicing cupping.
That's what I was doing. But before you came in, I was like cupping my microphone. I think it made Matt a little uncomfortable because he was like, "Whoa," and I was like,
She's
"I'm sorry." I
minding the
was like,
stepchildren.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure he was good down there. But here we are.
You just move it. You didn't cup it.
But you were a little aggressive when you were holding. I was like, "Whoa."
You can tell he's.
Okay, and now
Look, see. I mean, I wasn't gonna go
Matt's
down on the
like,
mic,
I don't
but I
have
was
a
just
lot
trying to
of
help you out. I was gonna
experience.
show you. Yeah, see. That's all it was.
It went from cupping it to.
I mean, I can like give you the double hand, like Master 3000 if that's what you're looking for. But I mean, it's just a simple mic.
It goes back to the Ricky Bobby going on.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Here we are.
That's why I love her.
Yes, we definitely have a good connection. That's for sure. Like I said, we met a few months ago. I mean, hell, we've been doing this for what? About 6 months?
Yeah, just about.
Something. We talk occasionally through Messenger. A lot of copy. I love the fact that you like to leave comments like, if Jason picks his nose one more time, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
When you're doing the video.
You don't see those?
I do. No, I don't see those. I do not see. I don't pay attention. Look, I'd be the first one. Come on, let's be clear. No. I might do this, but I'm not picking my nose.
No.
I mean, that's not even. But the point is,
Whole thumb.
what you're talking about is, if I got self-conscious about that stuff, well, then I might actually stop. I might get uncomfortable and stop putting forth the content.
You just do natural and pick your nose.
No, that's the whole. I mean, other one. I know that now we're getting into like huge exaggeration.
He was 2 knuckles deep, folks.
No, but the point being, I don't get involved in the process. Like when I know the camera's on, I'm talking because I want to put out good content. But once we get past that, I stay out of the process because I don't want to overthink it. I don't want to be overly judging it because
I just put comments on there for the editors and for Trisha, for me and her to laugh.
No, and I mean, it sounds like you guys are able to have a good little laugh behind it.
Yeah,
but I don't. I truly
appreciate it.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, because I learned a long time ago. Like, if the wrong thing comes out of your mouth and you're like caught talking some shit that's. If you are developing the amount of content like we talk about on a massive,
low quality,
like it's going to bury. Yeah. So even if I say something like wrong, but tomorrow there's going to be 5 more pieces of content on top of it.
People seeing that content are so low, it doesn't really matter.
Until later in life, and then they want to throw it back in your face. But since I have no desire or intention to get into politics, no, I'm really not. I don't ever really have to worry about that piece of it. But it's nice to know that because I like bringing levity to the table. Apparently, I'm bringing some levity to the table, unbeknownst to me, that is now being discovered. I don't.
It's great when she's quiet over there, she's working, then you just hear her start laughing like what?
Or like the one that I said.
Another comment.
Or the one where I was like, the girl in his car looks like she's being held prisoner.
Yes.
Oh.
Let her out now.
Oh my God. Brutal.
You should definitely review our stuff.
No, I don't want to, because then that would literally make me self-conscious. Oh my God. I still don't want to know. I don't know. That's not.
They're not on everyone. Just every now and then.
No, just every.
She was held hostage, but she is fine.
Is she fine now?
Hey,
she's good.
You know what? But okay. But now we're gonna get a little bit of pushback here. Like, she has to admit, I know, like, she likes my voice. Okay. She has admitted this before.
Bacon or the hostage? What are we talking about?
That's what I was wondering.
No, I'm talking about bacon.
Some Stockholm syndrome shit.
No,
I mean,
because I've had many people. I've had many people tell me that I have a radio voice. Some people have been so gracious enough to tell me that I have a radio face as well.
I listen to your voice enough that you do definitely have a good voice for radio.
Okay.
It's not annoying or piercing at all, and you have a very pleasant voice to listen to, which is nice considering how much you have to talk about.
Yeah.
I so love you.
All right. Fair. I mean,
He's like, all right, now we're going to wrap this shit up.
He's like, look at the snow coming down. We better get out of here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
my
I have a
Lord.
little bit.
There is like a whole bunch of snow coming down. I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, Dawn has invited you and me to go over to her house one night and spend the night.
Fuck yeah. And the babysitter I have is the best person ever to keep my kids.
man.
And she's like, no time limit. I haven't seen your kids in years. Have fun. And I'm like, bitch.
Oh my Lord. Well, because I'm sitting there going, you 3 together.
Oh.
That would be like good
That's why you
stuff.
should have brought some liquor.
Good stuff for apparel would definitely come out of that. Like,
Yeah.
I would almost be.
We were talking about that last night. We were like,
Yeah.
we should gather everybody up and just have everybody in like a casual type
Yeah.
of scenario, and just have everybody sort of just
And
spitballing
wait,
some
we
shit.
did contemplate on whether to have like a
But
designated.
He said a whiteboard, and I said no, because we're gonna like get up the next morning and it's gonna be like elephant dick, and I'm like, what
Right,
the fuck
exactly.
did I mean by that?
But hers was suggestion was record it, and I'm like, yeah, no, we're not recording that. well, you could do audio. Yeah, no, we're not doing
Gotta
that
capture
either.
it somehow.
No, but that's what I'm like, whiteboard, so that you can write it down, and what you wake up, it'll be to
I just want a
discover
GoPro.
what's.
Get the whole context.
Can I get a GoPro?
Exactly, that's what I'm
And
saying.
then I'll just go
I
in.
put
No, because I don't want to
What
be
did I mean?
like, if we're gonna cut up that, I'm not letting a permanent record of that exist. I'm not.
I was totally just leaving you out. I was thinking about me baking a dawn
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a GoPro.
And a GoPro.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Oh, jeez.
I'm
Why does
down
Dawn
for
look
that
scared?
all day.
As long as I'm holding the GoPro.
Oh, no, you've already assured us a couple drinks in, and you're going to be willing to be in it.
Drinks in, then I'll be like,
What's up, bitch?
Uh-huh.
What's up?
See? I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah,
definitely.
that's a great idea.
Wow. So, I don't want to, heaven forbid, I want to make sure that everybody has their time on the mic to
I feel
ask.
like I've just been interrupting.
Just
as we
insert
go.
yourself.
Yeah, no. That's about like a podcast, and I expected that. Apparently, Dawn, the bougie blonde's looking for like etiquette while being bougie at the same time. I mean, that's.
Hey, there's nothing wrong.
Oh.
She's got a style about her.
So we probably better start actually wrapping this up a little bit. But I mean, lessons
why.
learned. I'm looking for. I'm looking for nuggets.
Some of us have to drive to the south side of Indy. And this.
Wow.
Kempton.
So if somebody were to decide that they wanted to get into copywriting, what kind of advice would you have for them?
A, come see me.
You want your cut.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd say if you're going to get into copywriting, you really need to ask yourself whether or not. There's like a series of questions. I don't know what the fuck compels me to do this, because I feel like there's so many other things that I could have possibly done. At this point, I don't think there's anything I want to do besides that. But I'd say
You want to work with Trish on her terror and tea stuff and do spirit boxes.
I want to do stuff with her. What she said.
Yeah.
So I would say you just really need to be disciplined, and I'd say you need to. Discipline is definitely big, and like kind of think outside the box, as cliche as that sounds. So being a copywriter really requires you to pull out parts of yourself, your past, your sense of humor, your serious side. You have to really open yourself up on all levels in order to successfully do this, and then you have to, while being free-spirited, also being disciplined. And so I'm not sure there's a lot of people that can do both things at the same time.
Can you really do both things at the same?
I
It's about
am.
like people that say that they're a multitasker, and I'm like, I don't. The reality is, there's a lot of science out there that says you think you're multitasking, but you're not really multitasking. You're just juggling, because when you try and pay attention to two different balls in the
This is
air.
a man
We are
talking.
women.
Yeah,
I
that's-
know, and we can't.
I can multitask.
Well, science says otherwise,
Well,
but
Science,
I mean,
you don't
Kiss our
fucking
ass.
follow the science anymore, do you?
see, here we are right here.
already know
The
that
women,
I
they're
can
speaking
multitask.
with emotions and feelings that's not necessarily rational, because the science
Listen,
says.
listen.
Leave the room.
I have 2 children that I homeschool.
Okay.
Okay. I run a business with 13 clients. My house is spotless, and I fucking look like this. If that ain't free-spirited, disciplined free spirit, I don't know what is. And so I am a walking conundrum, and I love every fucking minute of it.
See it right there. That's okay. So,
There's your answer.
Bacon, if and when somebody wants to find you online to appreciate what we have talked about as far as your skills, where would you direct them, and what would they search for in order to find you online?
Well, if you wanted to find me directly, you could just email me at tgnicholsxox, like hugs and kisses, @gmail.com, and I'll go through it there. Or I'm on Upwork, which is like a freelancer's website, and so it's just Tiffany N on Upwork. So other than that,
You went straight with your first name on Upwork.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think that bacon would have translated very well on that
Well,
platform.
I thought everybody loves bacon.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I
it's
almost disagree.
disciplined free spiritism, and so
Okay.
my headline
bacon,
is,
but not really.
my my headline is professionalism, the perfect marriage of professionalism with personality,
Okay.
because that's what I am, and there will be no divorce.
Now, if they wanted to find your raw, this is like this is my personality, my alter ego when I'm not making money.
I'd say go to Blake Parker, look up Blake Parker from autoblow.com.
Wow. Okay. And I'm still have not heard the where I know to or what pops up in my news feed. You have any desire to direct them there? Or you want to keep that one under wraps?
I think I'm going to keep that one under wraps right now until I do a little bit more market research in terms of the listeners that you have and the things like that. I think it's just better that way.
Okay. Well, I mean, but part of that is like your responsibility right there. I mean, that's so yes. I mean, when it comes to my personal brand stuff on Facebook and on Instagram,
buy the date box, you can buy that. I designed the date box. So
the date box, do tell.
It's the Happily Co. So they do a monthly date subscription, and I do the game design. So I design the recipes, I design the activities that you do, I design all the copy that comes with it, and then it gets put into a subscription box and sent out to couples. And so I'm responsible for doing all of the designing on that. And so that's sort of, I get to play with my sense of humor and my little romantic, playful side a little bit. So if you want to see some of those, I mean, that's one way you could do it. You can get the date box.
Okay. Very good. Very good. So yes, she does write all of my copy, and starting this podcast, she knows that it was time to start moving into a different version of that copy. So I'm gonna let her tackle all of the copy for these podcasts themselves. I will be.
It's fucking on now.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Is I'm sitting there thinking she has to write the copy for her own interview. So this will be interesting just in itself.
Oh, I'm gonna fuck with this so hard. So yeah, that was awesome.
All right. Well, again, anybody out there that is thinking about entrepreneurship, I mean, any which it can start as a side hustle that develops into something else. It can start off as a hobby. Exactly. And keep working at it and understanding you're not going to do it in a year.
Yeah. And then when you get to that point where you think, I don't think this is fucking working out, you need to understand that is like a college course. That's all that is. That is not an invitation to quit.
Absolutely. So to wrap this up, I will say to Tiffany Grandstaff, better known as Bacon, thank you very much for coming on. And even outside of this, everybody will be able to, at least by watching my content, to be able to enjoy her copy for a good long time to come. And hopefully you got something out of this, whether it be a good laugh and giggle or some good knowledgeable information. Please definitely share the show itself, but definitely leave us some comments and reviews so that Tiffany herself can get a little bit of feedback on what people think of both her and her copy. But I think we're going to wrap this up. So everybody have a good night, and we will see you next time.